Now that we have our client target list that we discussed in the previous episode, I want to dive into my strategies as far as utilizing it in the business and the touch points and the contacts that are required in order to take those clients from conversation to closing, because ultimately that's the next paycheck. And so we're going to talk about that today and more on this episode. What's up, guys? Jeremy Kane with the Real Estate Agent Playbook, both on YouTube and the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you are interested in this overall target client list and the sphere of influence kind of business building, there is a free mini course in the show notes in the description for you to take advantage of. This portion of the client target list and everything involved with the client target list is one of the episodes in that mini course. I encourage you guys to take a look at that. But as for now, let's dive into the next steps in managing this target client list and getting you paid. All right, so now we have our 3 columns, right? Check this video out if you did miss my initial video on creating a target client list. It'll help you out, and you might want to check that out before we dive into this one. If you're listening on the podcast, it's the previous podcast to this one. If you're on YouTube, obviously I linked the video up there. So as we get into this, you have the 0 to 3 month client list where you've talked to them about real estate. You think they're about 0 to 3 months based on what they've told you or their lease or whatever that is. Now, that list is probably where the next paycheck lives. So we really want to make sure that we're staying top of mind there. And so I'm saying at minimum, this is, completely your feel and what's going on. I would not do less than this. Is I would make sure that you have a direct communication with that person once per week. And this is in addition to all of the passive marketing and all the stuff that you're doing as far as your sphere of influence and staying top of mind. That's different. This is a direct communication, whether that's a text, a phone call, an in-person, showing or whatever. Let's really focus in on that piece and that direct communication. Now, it's very important to know that, if they're on the longer end of this, maybe the 3 months out, you probably want to pull back a little bit and understand that, once a week, you don't want to be talking to them about real estate stuff. So this is really where that foundation of that lifelong relationship is built. Check in on their kids, check in how the procedure went, check in how their day at work was, whatever, to have that once a week direct communication. Usually when you do have that direct communication, they will bring up real estate. They will say, yeah, we talked to the lender, or yeah, we had the carpets cleaned, or whatever it may be, whether it's buy or sell. But you want to make sure that you're talking to the people on this list one time per week. Okay, on to the next column. And I'm going to tell you that this is the column where you lose most of the people in your, sphere. This is where they escape, so to speak. And we're not prisoners, we're not prison guards, but this is where you lose clients and lose money ultimately. So this is the 3+ months out. And a lot of people are like, well, 3+ months, like if they're 3 months and a day out or they're 5 years out, like why are they in this? Remember the rule. If they've mentioned buying or selling real estate to you, and they're either 0 to 3 months out or 3+. And this is something that, can get awkward, and you got to kind of manage this. You don't want to push too hard in this, but I will tell you that the majority of people leave this piece because there is not enough contact, right? Whether they're driving around, they stop in a new build and they get captured, or not captured, I guess. I'll digress a little bit there, but they're driving around, they go under contract with a new build, or they're at, a work function and they're like, oh, you got to use my realtor. And then that realtor takes action and has that communication and they're off to the races. This is something that's super important for you to stay top of mind. My suggestion is once every 3 to 5 weeks, you have some sort of communication. Now, again, if it's 2 years, maybe it's a text message. Maybe it's, hey, I saw this, post or meme and thought of you. It can be light. It doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be all about real estate, but you want to constantly stay top of mind. This is also where I do my scouting trip piece, where I take people out to just kind of dream and look at houses. If you're interested more in that, check out this video right here where I dive into my entire scouting trip and what that means and what that's done for my business. So as we move forward here, this again is something that absolutely needs focus. So the next column we're going to talk about here is your should be buying real estate. And this is, kind of a hybrid. And honestly, like I said in previous episode, this is where my list started. And this is something that you're going to kind of dive into as, okay, it's real life things that people are talking about. Most people post things like this on social media, whether it's a marriage, a new baby, a new job, maybe a new career, maybe a relocation, unfortunately, maybe a death or divorce. Usually they kind of show their cards on social media. So if you are scrolling, do it with intention and start to kind of collect these people that should be talking to you about real estate or going through these life things that maybe are, important. Another one is like college graduation. If you can get in the, mindset of some of these young professionals, they may not be ready right away, but if you're willing to walk that line with them and help start building wealth at 22 or 24 or whatever they are, you'll probably see huge benefits. And if they aren't ready, maybe their friend that got that sweet mechanical engineering job, is ready. And so that's kind of the point here is you want to stay top of mind. Maybe, it's an invite to some events, maybe first time home buyer classes or anything that you can do to kind of stay top of mind with these people and just kind of present yourself. I wouldn't call and be like, hey, your dad died. I'm so sorry. When are we going to list the house? That's not what I'm asking you to do here. But having that list and being ultra aware when you are going through social media and you're daydreaming on the scrolling and, or you come across somebody and you go to lunch with a friend and they're like, oh, remember Bonnie from high school? She just got married. That kind of stuff is the people that should be going on this list. And then you're intentionally trying to find those direct communication lanes. And it may start out a little bit more passive on the social media or whatever that looks like. But those are the, kind of tactics I use with these columns to build out my business. And we're going to talk about a little bit how I incorporate this into my strategy, into my lead generation day, into my prospecting time. We'll talk about that on the next episode. So one more episode until you get the full details on this client list. But this list, remember, we're talking about going from lead to conversation. Once we have that conversation, we classify them on one of these columns. This is a list that you can constantly use and constantly have in front of you. And the honest truth is this is where your deals are going to come from here in the next couple, years probably will be from this list. And you will have people that you can add on, but it's a working document, right? You can put them in, you can continue to, build that stream of people coming into your client list. And that's where it really takes off is when you have 5 to 10 to 20 people on, one of the columns, then you actually have true meaningful conversations and things to do every single day in your business. This is how I started building my business. It was not this organized at first, but as I've mentioned in previous episodes, this is absolutely it. So take this as it is. It's super simple, but not any realtors that I come across or talk to are this organized and this diligent in how I tap into this list, which we'll go into in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please leave a 5-star review if you're listening on a podcast, and we'll talk soon. Jeremy Kane, Real Estate Agent Playbook. Bye-bye.